Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of my Just a Dude podcast. I hope everybody's having an absolutely wonderful day while we get started here and start talking about some things that are important to me and some of the things that we talked about in my previous lives and, subjects that have come up. Because, like I said, this podcast is starting to evolve more to be about me showcasing myself and things like that, and hopefully y'all enjoy while I start working on other podcast projects that kind of accentuate more of my other interests in more specialized ways. But here's the thing that I learned about failure and a lot of this path when it comes to becoming a content creator, or really choosing anything that it is that you want to do or be, because there's always going to be somebody that's going to look at it and say, oh, that's not conventional, that's not going to get you any money, you're not going to make it anywhere trying to do that, there's already too many people, or something along the lines of that. There's always going to be that negativity. But that negativity should never be a reason for you to stop. Just because someone wasn't able to make it that way doesn't mean that you won't. Just because they didn't have the tenacity to keep pushing forward when failure came their way doesn't mean that you won't. Because the lesson here, when it comes down to it, is that failure is nothing more than a launching point. Because success and victory are mountains that are built upon failures and pitfalls and disappointments. And as long as you're willing to continue to push forward past them, you will succeed. You will make it. But you won't get anywhere if you give up. That'll make all of the efforts and everything that you put into everything that you've done mean absolutely nothing. It's something that my grandpa always used to say. You can get busy fixing, or you can waste time bitching. It's a choice that you have, really. So, don't be cowed by what could be, because you don't know what really could be until you put your foot out there. And if it all goes wrong, so be it. Keep pushing forward, keep going, because it's what you want in life. This is your life. This is your time. This is the gift that you have been given, and you need to relish and take hold of it for every moment that it is, and everything that comes your way, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Because it's not always going to be good times. It's not always going to be bad times. But it's always going to be your time. And how you respond to it and what you do in response to what comes your way will determine how far you go and how fast you'll progress. And even so, never forget that progress is seldom seen by those who make it. And just because you haven't seen the path forward, just because you aren't where you want to be today, doesn't mean that you're not on your way. And when it comes to those of you out there that want to be content creators, that want to be entertainers, put yourself out there. Stop putting it off as a plan. Because it's like John Lennon used to say. Yeah, I quote a lot of things. But it's like John Lennon used to say. Life happens when you are busy making plans. And I am definitely butchering that quote. But y'all get it. No. You can have all of these great plans, you can have all of these great ideas, but they're not going to mean anything until you risk it to get that biscuit. Put yourself out there. It's scary. I know how scary it can be. Trust me, I'm on that path right now, and I am terrified. But that's not going to stop me. That's not going to stop you. Because you know what courage is. Not being fearless. And I've talked about this before, and I'll talk about it again. Because the fearless are foolish. It's having fear and walking forward. That is courage. It's not about walking forward with a face of confidence. Walking forward while you still are scared shitless. And you can do this. You can. Because guess what? You want to know what the amazing thing is? You're still breathing. You're still alive today. And it may not seem like it, but you have progressed so much from where you've been. You have done and seen many things, and you will continue to do so, for your story is not over. And it won't be. It won't be until you draw your last breath. So take it all in. Live it. For you. Not for anybody else. You weren't born to be beholden to anyone. To you. And what you want to see in life. And no matter what anybody may think, it's not selfish. No. That is living. Alright? So don't let anybody tell you that you can't do this or you can't do that because it doesn't fit into some little box. Because you know what I say about the box? Food box. You take that box, you pee in it, you take a dump in it, and you throw it in the trash. Put some gloves on because it might get a little bit dirty. But either way, the box does not matter. What people want you to be does not matter. The opinions of others does not matter. It's your life. Why does anybody have any stake in that? It's a good question to ask. It's one that's not asked often. It's one that's seemingly left behind for the sake of fitting in. We don't need to fit in. No one was made to fit in. No one was made to be something other than whatever they want to be. Alright? So, this especially goes out to those of you that are, a lot younger, a little bit more confused about where your place is in life. Your place in life is to live and experience life as you choose. Not in any way anybody seems to think should be your path. You make that decision. You change when you want to change. Not because someone said to, but because you want to. Because when you need to. Or what you want. And that is what matters. Don't ever forget that. Alright? I just wanted to give you this a little bit before we go on into the next segments of this Just a Dude podcast. Alrighty then, my friends. Thank you so much. And let's move on to the next segment, shall we? Hello everybody and welcome to Game News. The very first title that we'll be going to be talking about is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which will be available on all platforms on August 18th of 2023. Now, this is a survival horror co-op game where you and your friends will have to survive against Leatherface and his family. And of course, there will also be a veritable PvP mode for you to enjoy. This is a very, very interesting title, and it is very much so anticipated by those of the horror survival community that have played games like into Friday the 13th and of course Dead by Daylight. Now, let's check out the trailer for this title now.
Be a lot of fear, but we'll be on the run.
And though that was just a quick sneak peek at the game and its trailer, it already has a quite spine-tingling feel to it, doesn't it? I am highly anticipating this game being very popular amongst the horror game community. At the very least, we'll have to wait and see, which will be available to everyone, of course, like I said, August 18th of 2023. Let's go on to the next title, shall we? And the next title that we're going to be talking about is Blasphemous 2. Continuating from Blasphemous 1, the penitent one awakens and joins once again in the struggle against the endless miracle. Dive into a perilous new world filled with monstrous foes and secrets as you continue on this journey with our pointy-headed and protagonist. Let's check out the trailer for this game now.
Peggy 16.
Now doesn't that look like a macabre delight? I know many people have been anticipating the release of this title since its first game, and I know that it's going to give you the same amazing experience that Game Kitchen and Team 17 brought you with the first Blasphemous. This Metroidvania hack and slash is very interesting, and if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you pick up a copy. Now then, let's move on to the next game, shall we? And the next game that we're going to be talking about is Payday 3, the third installment of a first-person shooter game that taught you that crime does, in fact, pay. At the very least, gives you that fantasy. It is a very interesting and fun game brought to you by Overkill Software, Starbreeze Studios, and published by Prime Matter and PlayOn. Now, it will be available to you on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation September 21st of 2023. Let's check out the trailer for this sensational game now.
Alright guys, it's a simple job. Just in and out. Nothing to it. Everybody hit the floor!
Well, who's ready to get paid? Payday 3 will be available to everyone on September 21st of 2023 on PlayStation, Xbox, and of course PC. The game takes place right after the events of Payday 2 and will have the gang members from Payday the Heist. It'll be a very interesting story to experience, and I hope y'all will enjoy it upon release. Now then, let's move on to the last game of this segment. And the final title that we're going to be talking about is one that has been highly anticipated. Starfield, brought to you by Bethesda Game Studios, available on PC and Xbox September 6th of 2023. Now this game has been described as Skyrim in space, and should be a very interesting addition to Bethesda's portfolio of games, as they have done sci-fi before, but Fallout is more post-apocalyptic, and this will be their first foray into the great beyond. And of course, this game takes place in a interstellar colony setting 20 years after an event known as the Colony Wars. Let's take a look at the trailer for Starfield now.
Constellation Starship Frontier, we have you on scanners. Performing remote systems check. Helium-3 tanks checked. Seals are intact. Clear still go.
They say, the wonder is, not that the field of stars is so vast, but that we have measured it. You're part of Constellation now. Part of our family. What you've found, it's the key to unlocking everything.
We reach your constellation.
This is all we've been working towards.
Jemison route looks good.
We've come to the beginning of humanity's final journey.
Prepare for departure. Graviton loop array full check. Your space lane is clear.
That's why we're here.
Main engines go. Ignition.
To discover what's out there.
Good luck, Constellation. You are go for launch.
Now that looks like a very beautiful game, and I can see why it's been anticipated by everybody. And of course, Starfield, brought to you by Bethesda Studios, will be available on PC and Xbox September 6th of 2023. And it will be also available on Game Pass, first day, for those of you that have that subscription service. Now then, thank you all so much for joining me for Game News! And it's time to move on to our next segment. And welcome to Digimon of the Week. This week's Digimon is Damemon. Damemon is a unique Digimon, as he is a Digimon that is only featured in a one-shot manga. But it is featured in the very first Digimon manga, created to promote the release of the Digimon franchise, with its very first VPET in 1997. And Damemon is a interesting Digimon, as it doesn't appear in any other form of media except for the one-shot manga, Come On Digimon, the capering monster Bun. Now Damemon is actually named Bun, and is the partner to the protagonist Kentaro Keimon, and is a early combination of a design for Koromon and Agumon. Now, later on in the Digimon world and lore, there will actually be another Damemon introduced. But this particular Damemon shouldn't be confused with this Damemon, as that Damemon is a Cross Wars version of Sukamon, which is a Digimon that is created from an amalgamation of trash data. Thank you so much for joining me for this segment of Digimon of the Week. And if you want to learn more about Digimon, please do check out my Digimon lore playlist, which I will link in the description down below, for I have begun doing long-form Digimon lore videos on YouTube. And of course, if you're interested in learning lore about anything else, please do make a request in the comments, because I will definitely consider it. And of course, if you do become a Patreon subscriber of a certain level, you definitely have the capability of making that request and it becoming a reality. Thank you all so much as we move on to the next segment. Welcome, my friends, to another Journals of a D&D Adventurer. Today I bring you the most recent entry from Yoru, the Dragonborn Monk. It's a little bit dusty. Now, let's see what he has to say. We finally made our way to the Fey Village. We even made our way inside, after delivering a dastardly villain named Meat Pants. After that, we regrouped, and then we made our way into the city together. This Fey Village seems quite hoity-toity, and I ended up spending all my money. Well, they knew, and I decided not to hide it. So I let everybody know. We are poor. And it seems that this Fey village is quite classist. They have something against poor people. And you know what? I don't like that. Either way, we're here to finish a job. We gotta get it done. We gotta find somebody to help deliver this fairy dragon back to its home so that we can help that little boy and maybe finally finish this job. So I won't be poor anymore. Either way, it's really all I got to say. Goodbye. Interesting! Well, thank you so much for joining me in this segment of The Journals of a D&D Adventurer! Well, everybody, we've reached the end of my Just a Dude podcast. And it might be just a little bit shorter of an episode than I normally do, but either way, I appreciate all of you that have watched, have listened, and hopefully have enjoyed. Thank you all so much, and I leave you with this little tidbit. Please remember, my friends, never be afraid to be yourself, alright? Because the world needs to see that. For without you and being your wonderful self, the world is a poorer place for it. So shine, my friend. Shine as bright as you can. And smile, because you deserve to be happy being you. Alright, my friends? Love train, rolling on through. Choo choo. I love single freaking well. Now, time to roll credits. Well, that's another video down. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really do appreciate y'all. And of course, if anybody does want to continue to support me and help me in making better quality videos, as well as making my dream of becoming a content creator come true, please do check out the links over here that will show you how you can support me. There's Twitch, there's Patreon, there's these other links on my Linktree, and of course, I appreciate every single one of y'all. Alrighty then, have a great one. Love train, and on through. Choo choo. I love every single freaking one of you.